Welcome to Teams Tuesday. It's January 19th, 2021. It's 12:15 in New York, 5:15 in London, 10:45 in Mumbai. We've got a great speaker, Tom Daly, an MVP, who's discussing MS Teams bots and virtual agents. I'm your host, Peter Ward from New York City. Stay tuned for the next 45 minutes. It's Teams Tuesday.
Thanks for having me, Peter. Yeah, so the question earlier was about the Teams bot. So there's been bots out for a long time now. The bots you can create in Azure prior to the Power Virtual Agents. You can create them in Azure and surface them in Teams. And now Power Virtual Agents just makes it so much easier. But I've created bots, maybe 3 or 4 years ago when it was just so much ridiculously harder than it is today. So we'll take a look at exactly what makes them easier, what makes them harder, what was the difference. It's all covered in this session. Power Virtual Agents, they're powerful chatbots that you can interact with. They can perform tasks on behalf of your employees or your customers, and you can surface these chatbots either through a service or the web or Teams, right? It's a part of the productivity suite of the Microsoft Power Platform. So the Microsoft Power Platform, here's a nice slide of this Office 365 Azure Dynamics applications. Going to be mostly low code. They say low code, no code. That's argumentable. Some people think that it's low or no code, but then you can get into coding actually. And some people say that JSON is code. So it's up to you to determine what that means. We have the Power BI, we have Power Apps, we have Power Automate, and now we have Power Virtual Agents. And all of these apps are built up on the data connectors, portals, AI Builder, and the Common Data Service. Common Data Service is the data store, right? So you're going to see a lot of kind of commonality when I show you Power Virtual Agents with Power Automate. They sort of look alike with the editor, and also with Power Apps, you'll see the canvas that's going to look kind of the same. And you'll even see elements of Power BI in there. So a little bit more about Power Virtual Agents, right? So they can respond back to your customers and your employee needs. So it's a chat bot in Teams or anywhere else. You can surface this in a number of different places. And we said no code. You don't need to understand AI. You don't need to understand coding for this. Like, you don't have to build anything with C# for building intelligent chatbots. You can talk to the bot and it will interact with you, and you don't need to be a rocket scientist to be able to figure this out. It has a nice graphical user interface for design, so very similar to Power Apps or Power Automate. The interface is very much the same, more closely aligned with Flow. I mentioned integration to web, Teams, Slack, HubSpot in a number of what's called channels. There's just a couple of certain settings that you're going to need to do in order to make them accessible outside your environment. But for the most part with Teams, it's just push a button and it's out there. You can get it in your whole organization, or you can publish it in just one team. Hundreds of pre-built connectors, just like Flow, Power Automate. Being able to connect to other systems is very important. So you're going to have a lot of pre-built things that you can already take advantage of. You're going to be able to automate workflows using Power Automate. You can also go in to build complex scenarios. If there's something that you can't do just dragging and dropping, you can go and build skills in Azure, and you can extend the skills of your bot. There's complex scenarios that can be handled here. Leverages the natural language understanding. So all the information that Microsoft has collected in the model, they've built this natural language understanding. You can put in a couple triggers and your bot in it, and you communicate with the bot in a way that you don't have to say exactly what the triggers say. It can understand your intention based on what you're saying. You can monitor and improve the performance of the bot. Nice Power BI analytics built in. Analyze performance of your bot. Power Virtual Agents is really about empowering your users to build solutions. Some of the examples that we can talk about here on the right-hand side: quickly automate frequently asked questions. This is the number one easiest thing to do, is to have a frequently asked questions list. Maybe you have one in your company already. Power Virtual Agents allows you to import that list. You just put in the URL. It will go out and crawl this list and create the topics for you. So it's a quick and easy way to get some kind of like fixed web page or fixed list into Power Virtual Agent so your chatbot can handle commonly asked questions. Maybe we want to give out some crisis information specific around COVID-19 within your company, or tracking information that you want the bot to answer for you. If you're a retail store, you can have your bot do a couple things like tell customers about store hours, do order tracking, assist customers with returns or return processing. You can have your bot integrate to those back-end systems and make it seamless approach. Finance departments help with, maybe you have a frequently asked questions or just general questions about filing expense reports. There's a procedure that needs to take place. You can program that into your bot to help your employees with their expense reports. In the human resources world, maybe updating employee benefits. You can have the bot communicate with employees to update back-end systems. Again, questions about pay stubs, payroll, that kind of thing, remote work FAQs. And another great scenario would be a help desk system. So having a bot that you can go talk to, submit a help desk request. Instead of calling in a number, you can just type it in what your problem is. The bot can ask you a number of questions, collect some data, and report that into a system. Or even if the bot's not performing correctly, you can have it actually escalate to a live agent in the bot flow. Why would we want to use Power Virtual Agents? What are the benefits of the Power Virtual Agents, right? So leveraging the Microsoft models that Microsoft built with AI, natural language understanding, the years and years of data that they've collected, it's really just coming to a point now where it's very usable. Like maybe a few years ago, it was a lot harder to use all that stuff to build your bot, but now it's becoming so easy. It's all tightly integrated. You don't even know what it is once you're in there. It just sort of works, which is what experience that most end users are going to want. Zero learning curve. People can interact with bots. They don't need to be taught to chat with somebody. It's something they do day to day in their personal life and business life. We all work on Teams now. We all work in some sort of communication engine online. So there's no learning curve. There's no app to learn. There's nothing that they have to do any different. Self-service. So relieving members of your team from answering phones or taking time out of their day to train somebody how to do something or answer dumb questions or not dumb questions. So selves are allowing the user to go in and do it themselves. So they can do it on their own time. It's going to be quicker because they won't have to interact with somebody unless the bot's not performing well, then they would have to act with somebody. And that leads to reduced costs. So setting up a bot will eliminate somebody from having to do a certain role. Maybe they won't have to be on the phone that long. Maybe it'll free them up to do other more important things. The goal of the bot is to really eliminate user interaction, streamline processes, and even reduce costs in the long run. So rapid implementation, make these bots fast, get them working quickly, and that's what Power Agents brings to the table. So what are some of the core challenges with building a bot? Now, prior to Power Virtual Agents kind of streamlining and simplifying, one of the challenges about bots is making the bot useful. The bot can't simply just answer questions. Sure, that's helpful, but it doesn't make somebody use a bot or implement the bot long term. The bot needs to connect with other systems, either internal, more importantly, external systems, and have built-in workflows to be able to process and do things. Now, if you had to program that, and every time you had to change, the turnaround time, and it's difficult, it's going to just take too long to get these things useful and to be as flexible when you need to make adjustments. Prior to the Power Virtual Agents, you needed maybe a small team of people to work together, like a developer, a data scientist, a subject matter expert. You would need all these people to sort of come together, the developer to build it, the data scientist to understand the natural language and AI, and then maybe the subject matter expert to tell those people what it actually is they need it to do, right? Nowadays, you can have just one person sort of click through, build it, and then, yeah, maybe you need to bring in a developer later on. But for the most part, you'll be able to build quick, simple bots with just one person in this method. And again, difficult to develop. You don't need to understand C#, JavaScript, whatever other language. You don't even need to understand natural language understanding or AI. You just don't need to know any of that stuff. It's there, and that's it. So this Power Virtual Agents solves these core problems. All right. So we're good. We're about 30 minutes in. So I'm going to do a quick demo. I'm going to pull up my Teams, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the three dots, and I'm going to type in Power Virtual Agents. So it's right here. So this is it. You should have this right now inside your Teams. It's just an app inside Teams. So we'll load this up. Now here's the interface. So our chatbots are going to be here. We're going to see our chatbots inside this window, and I have a number of chatbots. I just want to see what number I'm on with my Tombot. So we'll create a chatbot. I'll show you how easy it is that we can simply create a bot. So I'm just picking the team that I'm going to create this bot in. And this is just to get started. And then again, of course, you could publish it out to your organization. So let's create that. It's going to ask me a couple more questions. Give my bot a name. Let's call us TomBot2. I'm just tired of saying demo bot. And you pick your language, right? So we're English. And that's it. So it's going to take a minute. And it's going to go ahead and create the bot.
So Tom, are you creating that for the entire tenant or for the site or just for yourself?
Now, since it's not published, it's going to just be for myself. Once I publish it, it's going to be available in the team as an app in here. So if I just quickly show you demo bot. So I published this demo bot out, and now it would show up as just another app. And then again, it's still being created, so we'll let it go. But remember, so for my organization, I'll have bots. I'll have things here built for Soho. Yeah, so built by your colleagues. Like I said, you can get it from here into here just by publishing it into the teams, the gallery for the team's solutions.
So obviously you can publish it, build it in dev, and then publish it to prod.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of building it in place. Like again, it's in one environment, and it's not going to be easy to get it into another one. There's
no promotion.
Right. So if you wanted to, we'll put this another tenant. I mean, I don't see how that would work for you.
Okay.
All right. So let's get back to our bot. We'll just use TomBot, and I'll give you an overview of what we're seeing here. So on the left-hand side, this is our bot. We can say hi to the bot. And we can interact with the bot over here. And Power Virtual Agent is going to be broken down into a number of things here. So we have the topics, and that's what triggers the bots and what the bot does once it's been triggered. So that's really the key about the bots and how it's working. So when I say hi, what is it going to do? When I say hi, the next thing is going to be entities. So the bot needs to understand objects and entities. Like if I say 5%, and it's going to interpret that as a percentage or a number, right? And not just like a string or value like that. So we can create a number of entities, or there's already a number of pre-built entities that understand like, oh, this might be a state, this type of data. This might be an email address because it's got the @.com or .edu. This is a time or day. So it's smart enough to already understand a lot of these pre-built data types. Another thing in here, the analytics. So when we're done with our bot, we'll go into the analytics and we'll take a look at some of the analytics, show you more about the metrics of what a bot can look like. But you will already see like this is Power BI, right? These are Power BI charts. Then publishing the bot. Once you're done with your bot, you would go in here and you can publish it to your team. You can share the bot and install it in your tenant. And that's going to be right there. The last thing here, there's a couple of other little bits in here, but some of the security, if you're going to open your bot for public, some of the channels, right? So it's easy for MS Teams. It's tightly integrated. You can put it on a demo website, a custom website, mobile apps. There's a number of different what's called channels that you can publish this bot to. But all of these things require premium pricing and then also some security settings to get your bot outside of your, it's tenant.
So here's a wacko question. Could you speak to the bot?
Like
voice, hello, tell me what's my vacation for 2021?
As of right now, no, not here, but that's a great question. I saw there was a channel like for Cortana. I'm wondering if there's some more integration there with speech, right? There's a maybe there. I'm not aware of it right off the bat because there's no way to communicate with it through speech. But yeah, look, so it looks like one of the channels might be direct line of speech, and I think Cortana would be maybe speech understanding. So you'd have to bring some of that speech understanding into this in order for the bot to process that.
All right, cool.
So the skills, you can always extend your bot's capabilities doing skills, like adding these. And this is a lot more advanced. This would be the coding solution. So we're not going to cover that in this, but here's where you can extend your bot to do other things, maybe outside, like leveraging an Azure service or something like that. But you can also do that part in the regular bot flow. Let's go back to the topics, right? So I want to show you how we even said hi to this thing. When you get your bot set up, you automatically have a number of system always on things. Then this is coming from Microsoft. So this is like, how do I say hi? That's considered a greeting. So we can look at the number of ways that we can say hi to the bot. Good morning, good afternoon, hello, how are you? Now you don't have to hit these things perfectly. In capitals and lowercase, they don't matter in this sense. using the AI natural language understanding, it understands what you mean without, you can say it in a different way. And with enough triggers, it can kind of figure out what it is that you want to say. So you'll see when they recommend, I think, like 5 triggers for a phrase for it to sort of get it right. But, that's also depending on what you're trying to do with that. You might need more specific triggers for enough information for it to collect. So when I say hi, it's now triggered it, but now it's going to do something. So let's go to the authoring canvas. All right, so we're seeing a bunch of green things because I've already triggered the bot. As you type in, you can actually trace the bot flow of what it's doing. So you can see here that I've triggered the bot. Now, this is the out-of-the-box type of trigger flow that comes with the bot. So you can go ahead and make changes here and save it, and it'll update your bot. You can add new steps in here. And maybe you want to ask the person a question, condition. You have calls to actions. Calls to actions are executing flows. So this unlocks almost an unlimited amount of things that you can do. You can call Flow directly. So Flow can go off and talk to many other services and get you answers or interact with certain things. It'll wait for the response and then proceed with the rest of the flow. So this is a basic greeting. We can't change the triggers, but we can change what happens once it initiates. Now, if you have a complex flow where you're interacting with this and then it goes into a next thing, when you say hi and now it's going into something else, you can do this, track changes between. So as you communicate with your bot, it'll just jump into the next program, the next topic, and that's one way you can sort of track down what's happening with this bot. So let's go back to the main thing. Just going to show you, again, simple type of flow. Let's start over a new topic. So we'll start a new bot, and I'll say holiday hours. Right, so I'll give it a friendly name, and I'm going to give it a couple triggers, right? So let me get my triggers here. Holidays this year. What are the holidays 2021? Say, what holidays do we have, Paul? Right, so I'm building a holiday bot to tell us in our company, when are the holidays? Like, that's pretty important to me to know when I have to not work, what days I have to not work. All right, so we're going to set up our bot. Now we've created a number of triggers. So these are holidays. Now, what do we want to do when the holidays start? When we get triggered by this. Now we want to say, what office are you in? Because we have multiple offices. So we could say, what office are you located in? Right, and we're going to say multiple choice. But now from multiple choice, we're picking like what type of data we're going to get back. Now, I've already gone ahead and created a new entity called offices. And inside the office, it's basically a drop down of choices, right? So these are our offices. I've created a data type office. This is what we're looking for. So we have US, India, and Lithuania as our offices. And so I'm going to allow these options for the people to pick, and then we're going to give this variable name. We'll just say var offices, so I know what it is. And then, okay, so once we have our question and our bot asks the questions, the response is going to be stored in this variable. So again, no code, right? Low code. We're storing variables. We still have to have variables and objects. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to ask a question. So inside here, we're going to pick the office as a condition, and we're going to say if it's equal to the US, and we're going to add a new condition. We're going to say if it's var is equal to India, and we would add a new condition for Lithuania. And then, once we have our conditions, we would then respond with the message. So we have our offices here. So we would say add a message. So I'm just going to do 2 of them and then show you what this bot will do. So I'll put that in there. Right, so we're really easily building out a flow of what the bot's going to do. So we say holidays, the bot just reset, holidays 2021. It's going to ask me what office are we located in. I'll say US, and then they'll say done. Now the last step, you should really always end with a survey so that you can tell like the bot's performance. Now the only way I can connect these usually and with the survey, connect these like this. And I always orphan something up here. So that's it. We'll run through this bot. holidays, pick your, well, the bot's just refreshed. So when you save it, the bot refreshes, and sometimes I'm a little quick. Right, so now, did that answer your questions? Yes, rate your experience. And this kind of closes out your bot, so you get better metrics on it. Right, so go ahead, I'm listening. All right, so yeah, I didn't really want to help it with anything else. So that's essentially a basic bot that we were able to create in only a couple minutes with the holiday hours.
It's a question here. How quick is this? Like, I ask a question, are we looking at about 6 seconds for it to come back? Or does it depend if it's doing lookups?
It really depends. Yeah, it depends if it's going to do anything more, and that's going to have to go out. Like, it's pretty quick. It's quick. Like, so if I say hi, I mean, it's pretty responsive. But if your flow has like things like looking up a customer's order, it's all going to depend on the back end systems, right? We're just answering questions and doing a general flow. It's relatively quick, but if you're going to do some more advanced things, yeah, it can take time. And I have an example of that.
Of course, it probably depends on how many users are asking the questions, because I'm assuming there's basically process bandwidth issues as well. Like first day, you're taking on 50 interns or new hires in 1 week. I suspect some of the first questions, the FAQs, are going to be quite popular.
Yeah, but again, in theory, scalable, right? So it's got a back end that can grow based on demand, so that there should be pretty good performance. Again, not you'd have to test it, but it should be pretty well performing. I mean, it's not going to be like, oh, you got to wait 10 seconds or 30 seconds every time you ask a question. So here's one where I did the holiday hours, and now this one I kick off a flow. So the flow, you'll see if I click on other in this one, this is now going to flow. Did you find what you want? And it's just ask a question, right? And that one actually took like 1 or 2 seconds, but this part right here was from a flow where it sent me back, and it's like a mimic bot where it says whatever I say, it just says yes and it's true. And if I said no, it would say false, right? So this went out to flow, and that could take a couple seconds to kick up.
And so obviously you need to be, this is not something you can put on a website because you need to be an authenticated user, don't you?
Well, you can publish this on a website. You can make these anonymous bots. You have to go through and open up some security for the measures to get your bot to go onto a web channel, basically. So that's just going to poke the right amount of holes that it needs to get the bot to communicate through the unauthenticated environment. All right, so that's what publishing. So if we were ready to publish the bot, I literally just click publish and it goes out. But if you wanted to put the bot on another channel, like again, say you're going to push this out for like your Facebook account or something, you could do that. It's just a matter of, here's the custom website. Your bot needs some security settings that need to be set up that allow you to put the HTML chatbot onto your website. And then it's just going to use APIs to communicate back and forth.
Right, okay.
Right, so you've probably seen a number of bots already on various websites already. And like I know HubSpot has a bot on there, and I don't see the HubSpot integration here.
Yes. Okay, so let me ask you, is the bot engine though, is that going across, we say, into the Dynamics CRM world? Is it across Azure tenant? Does that integrate well into Dynamics CRM or the other Microsoft Stack products?
Yeah, anything in the Power Platform stack that we saw in the slide, it can access any of those. And anything with Flow, you can integrate with anything there as well. Like when you have the Flow, you literally have the Flow engine here. So if I was to open this up, just to show you again, like you can connect to almost any other systems with these connectors. So here are my Flow connection. I click this and I'm now in Power Automate Flow. And now I can connect to as many backend systems that this has in here. So it has all the connectors that you want to connect to. So I can shoot out emails, I can send messages back to my virtual agent. So here's what happens. Information comes in from the virtual agent, information goes back to the virtual agent. All you do in between is all Flow. So connecting to other systems, that makes it really easy. You have to make things up in SharePoint, OneDrive, anything in Microsoft, the connectors are here. The one thing I would say is like with Graph, there's no real good Graph connectors in here yet. So you can make the HTTP requests to Graph to get those back. Yeah, they are in here.
Okay.
It's going to take a long time to load. Yeah, so sending HTTP, these premium requests, this can connect to any other system that has an API. Right, so you can do HTTP requests with OAuth and get information back, Azure AD. right? So the only thing I know, so I'm working on a project with Graph. There's no once for Graph. I have to make the HTTP request manually, and I process that thing back. So that's like a little bit more heavy duty. It's not
So,
quite code, but it's like so close that,
so let me ask you, like with things like, so you got like a SharePoint information architect, they know bit of Power Apps, bit of SharePoint Designer, bit of Flow. Okay, they're not a Visual Studio type person. How easy is it for them to pick up on the virtual private agents?
I mean, it's pretty easy, right? So I find it very easy to do a lot of the simple things. Like if you're going to make an FAQ, I don't think you really need too much training in order to do it. It's very intuitive. You can pick it up and you can make that in an evening, 1 or 2 hours, get comfortable and play around here. If you're going to do a little bit more advanced stuff, there's also a lot of great blogs out there and the forums, which really answer a lot of the basic beginner questions and a lot of advanced questions as well. If you're trying to do something, there's probably a blog out there that'll tell you, or some sort of article that will tell you how to do it, or a YouTube video that'll tell you how to do it. I mean, it's cutting edge, but there's nothing where it's so new, because what you're seeing here to build these things like Power Apps, like Power Automate, there's already a lot of stuff out there on how to use Power Automate.
In your experience, where are you seeing the business case examples of this?
There's a couple different things, right? So the really good business case ones, there's a good case study from, I think it was Coca-Cola, right, where they're streamlining their purchasing for external customers, and that's on the Microsoft site. You can read that. But they're doing a lot with the bot. I mean, the bot's doing a lot, and where the real power is the integration with external and internal systems, right? That's where you get a lot of power. Now, I've built a bot in another organization that kind of helps you with the service desk, and that was really useful for them, where it was answering like really the basic questions like, oh, I don't have this or I don't have that. That was pretty powerful for them, and since it saved them a lot of headache and time, especially when they did a Teams rollout, they were able to program in a number of questions in a bot and get them answered without overloading the service desk. So in a situation like that, where you're launching something new and you are as a help desk, know you're going to get hit with a number of requests, you can already set up this first line of defense with the bot, right, and prepare yourself.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Okay, I think we're coming up. We've got 4 minutes left. We have one question coming in. Lately, Microsoft Teams have been a bit quirky, to say the least. Where are some good support forums on Teams issues for errors?
Teams issues for errors. Good forums would be, I would say, just go on TechNet. And a lot of things that I've had to do were very specific blogs with somebody, having a certain problem that I had and able to resolve it. So I just go to a direct blog. You got to be really good at searching, right, for things when you have problems.
Right. Okay, Tom, thank you very much. And thanks to the attendees for sharing their lunch hour with us. I hope it's been educational for you. If you've got any questions, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to field any questions over to Tom. With that being said, enjoy your day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.